Okay, great, guys. Thank you for being back. Now we're going to move on with our special guest, Olga Arzhaeva. She is actually helping NapulETH presenting on our stages, our great speakers. She's going to talk about the impact of blockchain on firms' internationalization. This means how the big firms, big corporate can use blockchain to expand, to grow, and to reach the final mass adoption that we hope to see very soon. Olga, thank you. The stage is yours.
Thank you so much for the presentation. So I will briefly introduce the topic. As Gaudencio said, basically in my research, I tried to explore it from theoretical point of view and later see the practical evidence of how application of blockchain can help businesses expand abroad. So I did also a special focus on small and medium enterprises because small and medium enterprises play a very important role in economy. Just let me change the slide quickly. As we see from statistical data, perfect. 90% of businesses worldwide are represented by small and medium enterprises. Basically, what it means that we should pay a lot of attention to those companies. And as we see also from other statistics, they generate almost, I would say, 50% of revenues. So I decided to make like this focus on those enterprises just to see how application of blockchain, which is basically the new technology which we try to apply to all the sectors, can help us expand the businesses and also go to foreign markets. As you see also mentioned here, like 3 main problems of small enterprises are probably, the one is firstly related to financial costs. So of course, to expand a small business, we should encounter numerous factors, as take a specialist related to compliance specialist. I don't know, the finance department, I would name all of them because you know better than me that. And blockchain, basically, as I will explain later as well, helps us to automatize those processes and make them more efficient. The second point is compliance. And here I will move to the very important point, liability of foreigners. So as I said, I tried to apply theory and later see on practice how it basically works. Liability of foreigners, just in a few words, is then consumers from foreign markets do not trust the businesses which come, I don't know, for example, from Italy to France. So I assume that trusting a business in France is better than to go to, I don't know, Italian business provider. And basically, this departs from the fact that, first of all, we do not really know which information is provided. So I see the website, I see the information somewhere, but I don't know how verifiable it is. And here comes the blockchain, especially supply chain management and financial operations in this sense can help us to make all those points very transparent. So I can check the data. Data, once it's put it on the blockchain, we can never change it. So we mitigate liability of foreigners in this sense and obtain supply chain transparency. And also, of course, we can improve our audit. What do I mean? Many companies coming back to the argument of small and medium enterprises should refer to large audit firms or probably even not large ones, but it's still like a very long process. The argument becomes even worse when they think about the process of collecting all the information. So I should come, I don't know, to finance department, I should come to logistics department, and to many others, just to collect the documents to be sent to the firm. With blockchain and with all smart contracts which we implement to the organization, we can automatize this process, which will take us, I don't know, a matter of minutes without sending the mails to all of our colleagues. The role, let me see, sorry. It's not working again. Yes. So here I also try to explore business models in blockchain, which we can apply and how it changed basically the businesses. And the very important point here is probably, you can see from the slides, is the role of DAO. So I try to like draw this parallel between how decentralized finance, decentralized organizations work, and how we can try to implement more or less the same structure in existing businesses. Of course, the answer, we cannot change everything very radically. So it's a matter of time to move to this more decentralized, more trusted environment. But one thing is really clear, that implementing all those smart contracts and other tools which we explored also during these 3 days at the conference here to the businesses, we can be much more efficient. We can be much more decentralized and obtain this trust. The next point, which I also tried to explore, is transaction costs. Transaction costs can be divided to more parts. So the first one is, of course, beginning costs. So when I go to suppliers abroad, I need always to discuss the business terms, the business contracts, and here we come back to this connection between liability of foreigners and transaction costs. In this case, I will have to pay people who represent my company abroad. Take example of the France again. So I need lawyers, I need my business representatives just to stipulate the formal means. Coming to the decentralized form of businesses, we can make all those processes much more efficient. And another important point about transaction costs is, of course, information. So here I try to explain in my research that the search of information and the point we want to deliver to our audience, in this case, potential customers, can like incur significant costs to the companies, because previously mentioned, we provide all the documents, but we still do not like deliver the trust from our audience. Management internationalization theories is another very important argument. All classical management theories assume the development of the company as a really smooth one. So, for example, we take the period of time of 5, 7, or 10 years. So the company is based in Italy. We first go, I don't know, from Rome. We take the smaller local market. Later we go to the national market, and later we start to develop to international one. This is not really applicable in current economy, and that's a very relevant point in case of blockchain, because companies tend to jump all those stages and come immediately to the international markets. So here is also provided some statistics. We have the new phenomenon of born global firms, which at least 25% of sales within 2 or 3 years. So it's a significantly different thing to be considered, that we do not develop in this like stage by stage process, but we have a new management model which is called DISTA, which basically explores that is cyclical round. So the firm can internationalize, go to the foreign markets. Probably it will fail, we also assume this, so we don't take only the successful cases. And after that, it will go like another round with probably another markets. So we should always take in mind that we cannot explore anymore any research, especially in application to blockchain, just by saying what we developed gradually. And in my personal opinion, that's very important point also for this conference, in a sense that we saw a lot of tools, we saw a lot of opportunities from DeFi, from quantum discussed previously. So that can be like this potential push which will make our firms go to international markets and acquire international clients. Blockchain benefits for small and medium enterprises, the most important argument, and here I provided like 4 main points, which we have discussed previously. What impressed me personally when I was conducting the practical side of my study, that in application to traditional financial structures, let's take, I don't know, Italian banks, nowadays the settlement process of like funds. So I as a customer come to the bank and I say, I want to acquire share the fund. The bank processes this request, But the funds which arrive in my account, it may take up to 5 working days. So that's a crazy amount of time. If we tokenize assets, and that's another like huge argument, we can improve this efficiency up to 24 hours. So it's 5 times better. You see the result yourself. This is actually crazy because just thinking about blockchain, and unfortunately there is this perception which I have encountered many times during my research, that we say blockchain is made just for DeFi. The blockchain is made only for firms which wanna decentralize and do not use traditional schemes that exist as banks and so on in our processes. That's completely not like that, because blockchain is a distributed ledger technology. What is ledger technology used for, as I would say from its meaning? Ledger is applicable, first of all, to the banks. So if you think about it once again, we would say that banks which may use first the blockchain to make their own processes much more efficient, and later will rely on the banks which will be processing our transactions in a much lower time periods. Another important point here is access to DeFi fundraising. So here probably it's a bit controversial in the sense that I'm not saying anymore we should rely on traditional structure. Here, for now, we assume it just as, again, as a small exception, because we don't have yet the structure which is well developed. So we need to try to access the fundraising in a different way. We do not need to, again, incur all those costs of compliance to go and say my company wants to do an IPO. So to make the company grow until IPO level, I would need an initial amount of time, which, I don't know, probably my company won't even survive until this stage. So I say I want to do ICO, and we have a lot of services now developing based on blockchain and related to Web3 world, which can help the companies fundraise the money and, of course, get this potential and opportunities to exit to foreign markets. So faster settlement, I said it, and cost-effective cross-border payments. I think it's quite a clear argument, of course, using blockchain, as we discussed also with different specialists here during our panels in previous days. I would not incur all those transaction costs related to SEPA and other settlement systems. I would just transfer the funds immediately on the blockchain. So I will reduce my costs significantly. Last but not least, coming back to practical findings, as I said, the fast settlement, which was reduced from 5 days to 24 hours, time stamping secures intellectual property, another very important argument. So if I would say that I do not want anymore to rely on authorization services, I can enhance my efficiency. Efficiency in what sense? So I have my documents verified on blockchain. How blockchain works, we know all perfectly. Once I settle my transaction, once I settle my document on the blockchain, I cannot change it. So I can just here give an example of Mediolanum, which made its non-financial declaration on the blockchain, and basically it makes a post. So here is my declaration, here is a blockchain, here is my hash. It cannot be changed. So once I put it there, it's like that, and it will never be changed. So this is another very important point in this case. Smart contracts, we have discussed it a lot. And last but not least, adoption trends and barriers. A very interesting argument, which I was also exploring later, is how the companies should be involved in the educational process. In Italy, there is this phenomenon, as we all know. We rely, first of all, on small and medium enterprises. And second of all, the people who work in small and medium enterprises probably not always have enough expertise in the field to understand how the technology can be used. So all the companies which are developing in the Web3 world here and trying to offer their services, first probably should go through this stage of making their customers understand what basically they offer. Not that I just go to the customer and say, I don't know, offer you to tokenize your services, but I need first to go through like initial stages and say, what is basically tokenization? How can I improve? And we see a lot of companies, if you will just make a case, I don't know, go through LinkedIn, go through any other platform, that we try to post, and we try to post not just like for marketing purposes, that like, I know, see my companies offers those and those services, but we make this educational process so other businesses, other entrepreneurs can see those, be interested, and say like, hey, I can use DeFi structure. I can use, I don't know, notification on business on the blockchain for my business, and it can be really beneficial. But of course, the huge argument is that sometimes, even if we try to implement all those to our enterprise structure, we may like encounter this pressure from the employee side. Employees probably won't understand yet user interfaces, which can be complex sometimes. But here we move on more technical argument, which was also explored during like previous speeches with us. So user interface is one of the most important things to be developed nowadays for blockchain field. And I want to move to one very interesting argument. I am a co-founder and co-president of Italian Blockchain Student Association, PSAE. We're quite new. We have launched just 3 months ago, so we're still a small group of really crypto enthusiasts. We want to move, we want to try to expand our community across Italy. So as you see, now we comprise of 3 biggest universities. That's LUISS, Politecnico di Milano, and Bocconi. In Bocconi, we have the special blockchain club. In LUISS, we have Andromeda Partners, which is now developing also blockchain. And we hope to find new collaborations, because I believe also in the context of this event, I'm really happy to have this opportunity to present either my project, but also just to mention a few colleagues of mine, Luca Piermarini, who is, I think, at the same time now moderating the blockchain institutional panel with representatives of Intesa, with MasterCard. So I see this like relation between younger generation and this event and the older professionals with more expertise, so we can share between ourselves our like opinion, our experience, and make everything develop. So please make sure to share our initiative, Blockchain Student Association Italy. Probably follow us on LinkedIn, and here is also QR code to my profile if you wanted to connect, if you wanted to discuss something later. Thank you very much for your attention, and as I'm also moderating, I think in a few minutes we'll proceed with the next speech. So see you soon.